Hey, what's cooking? So, Rich over at Just Cook the Damn Food set a bunch of us a challenge to do something nice for St. Patrick's Day. I decided not to go shirtless and stand there with a green drink. I'm not sure that's what he meant anyway. But if I think of St. Patrick's Day, I think of Guinness. So I've decided to do a pie with Guinness in it. And some Colcannon to go with it, obviously. You have to have something vegetable-based. Check it out after the credits. Rum VT. What's cooking, YouTube? Okay, we're going to start off with some nice minced beef. I think it's about 15% fat I used here. Just get a nice bit of flavour in there. Get that in the pan. Start frying it off a little bit. Stir it in, break it up into nice little minced bits. Leave it for about 10 minutes so it's that lovely dark golden brown with some crispy bits. And then add some little bits of veg. I've got some diced onion, some carrots, some peas, some bean in there, and a bit of sweet corn as well. Give that a good stir in and then leave that as well for about another 10 minutes until it just starts to brown and soften up and become lovely. Then add some flour, which will obviously help the gravy thicken a bit later. It's just some plain flour, tablespoon and a half. Stir it in, give it a nice mix. Now in here I have got ketchup, tomato puree, dried thyme, a bay leaf, soy sauce, Worcester sauce, and the magic ingredient, Marmite. Don't be scared if you hate Marmite, as some people apparently do. It doesn't make it taste like Marmite, it just gives it a nice, deep, rich flavour. Then the magic happens. Yeah. Pour that in. About half a bottle. Fresh more. Give it a good stir. And then you want to get some nice, good quality beef stock. Add that a little bit at a time. Just stir it in, maybe in thirds. I think I did thirds. Yeah, I did thirds. No, maybe fourths, quarters. There we go. Just give it a good stir, make sure it's all in. Mix everything together. And then let it simmer away. While it's simmering, nice and bubbly like that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Once it's simmered for about an hour, get a slotted spoon, take out your meat and your veg, put that to one side in a dish. Then with what's left, strain that through a sieve into another saucepan. You want to keep that gravy for later. You want to make sure you get all the meat and veg out of there to go as your pie filling. So pop that with your other meat and vegetables that you just took out. Leave that to cool, even put it in the fridge, let it set a little bit. So for the Colcannon, a couple of potatoes, spray with oil, sprinkle with salt. You can obviously peel the potatoes and chop them up and boil them to make the mash. I just like doing mash this way because it's a bit more flavour and not quite as wet. Just tastes more like potato. So do that, chuck those in the oven for about an hour, then get your pie dish, line it with some parchment paper, and then fill it with pastry. Now, I'll say at this point, I'm not very good at pastry. I bought this pastry, and I'm not very good at putting it in the pan either, but there we go. Prick some fork holes in the bottom to stop it rising up. Put some parchment paper. If you've got baking beans, use those. If not, use rice and make a right mess like I did. And then blind bake that in the oven for about 10 minutes before taking out your parchment paper and rice/beans. Look at the state of that pastry. Then put it back in the oven and blind bake for another 5 minutes. Meanwhile, crack and whisk or beat an egg, ready for egg washing. And then fill your pie with your lovely cooled meat mixture. The more observant amongst you may notice that I have tidied up the edges a little bit with some more of the short crust pastry. It's not cheating if I tell you. Add a bit more gravy. Obviously, you want some nice gravy in there. Then egg wash around the rim of the pastry, which is the short crust body of the pastry. And then I've got a circle there of puff pastry to go on top. Just pinch that, make sure it's all nice and stuck together. Form a nice lid. Make some cross shapes. Or tiny little slashes, obviously not all the way through the pastry. Across the top. You don't have to do that, it just makes it look pretty. And then make a hole to let some steam out when it's cooking in the oven. Then get your egg wash back and get some across the top of that pastry. Make it nice and golden when it cooks. Right, back to the Colcannon. Get a whole head of garlic. Lop the top off like that. Put it in some not cling film at all. Put it in some tin foil and add some olive oil. Wrap it up. We're going to roast that and add it to the mash. So I just parboiled this carrot for about 7 minutes. Then drizzle it with some honey and sprinkle it with some salt and have a nice honey roast carrot to go with this. Bit of extra veg. Pop your garlic on there. Pop the carrot and your pie and your garlic in the oven for about 25 minutes. You get your Savoy cabbage, quarter it and then shred it. Ready to go in with the Colcannon. And then you've got some lovely bacon lardons going in some oil and butter. I make my own lardons from bacon offcuts. You get much chunkier lardons that way, and it's more cost effective than actually buying lardons. Throw your Savoy cabbage in there and then just fry those two together. Get them both nice and crispy. Then get your potatoes out of the oven. Cut them in half. And scoop out those yummy potatoey insides. Put them in a bowl. Give them a thorough mashing. Unwrap your garlic. It's going to be hot. You're going to burn your fingers if you're not careful. I did. Which is why I got some kitchen roll. Squeeze your garlic out. Now this didn't cook as quickly as it normally does with me. This normally comes out as a really kind of nice, smooth paste. I had to give it a bit more chopping than I normally would. Probably give it another 5, maybe 10 minutes in the oven. Give it a chop and then you can give it a mash. But see, it's not quite as soft as it should be, but it still works, it still does the job. Add that to your mashed potato. Whisk it all together with a wooden spoon. Apologies for putting my arm in the way, it's very unprofessional. Add your bacon and your cabbage into that potato mix. Give it another whisk. Add some good salt and pepper as well, really season it up nicely. And then I melted some butter in a saucepan of milk. Added that as well, just to make it a bit creamier. Now when this comes out, it's not the prettiest looking mashed potato Colcannon that you're ever going to see. Just the bacon and the cabbage kind of changed the colour of it a bit more than I thought it would. But trust me, it tasted amazing. So spoon that on the plate. You see, it's not very pretty. Smooth that out a little bit. And get your carrot, which I've already made into spears here, just to save you watching that, you know how to cut a carrot. Put that on the plate with your Colcannon, then get your pie. It's the star of the show, isn't it, really? Bring your pie over to your mash. It's not mash, it's Colcannon, sorry. Look at that little beauty. Then the gravy that you reserved earlier, make sure that's nice and hot again. Maybe put some butter in it to make it nice and glossy. And pour it over the top of your pie. Yeah, baby. Watch, listen to this. That there is a pie. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Deb, don't forget to like and subscribe.